Hi, it's Stuart,
And here's Win.
and we're going to talk to you just very briefly about the Unit 3 elements of visual interpretation. This chapter goes over what are considered 9 elements of visual image interpretation. And it's a way for you to think about interpreting images to better understand what you're seeing. We all make these kinds of decisions subconsciously when we're trying to interpret what we're seeing. This method allows you to get a better sense of doing that in a more methodical way. One of the things that you'll see at the end of the chapter is some things about multi-concept approach and converging lines of evidence. And one of the things that I always tell students is to consider Occam's razor. Occam's razor was something created in the 13th century by a Franciscan scholar who stated that when given two competing explanations or two competing hypotheses, the one that makes the fewest assumptions is the one you should choose. Basically saying the simplest explanation is probably the best. And that's something I've always used in visual interpretation. When you look at something, try to think about a simple explanation for what you're seeing, not a convoluted one.
Well, that's a nice story there, Stuart. And also very important, a good experience here. I actually don't have a whole lot to add here. I mean, the chapter kind of speaks for itself. I mean, there's a few examples of all these elements of image interpretation. Like Stuart said, it's about a multi-concept. It's also about bringing in other data. I mean, sometimes for visual image interpretation, sometimes if you have other additional data from the field, from other images maybe, if you start combining them, sometimes you can interpret them better, have more detail maybe. So there's all these, of course, as you know, there's all these resolutions, spatial, spectral, radiometric, temporal resolutions. Well, all of those resolutions play a role, and every sensor has their own resolutions. And depending on what sensor you pick or what image you pick, you're going to have different interpretations very likely. So all of those resolutions play a role. If you bring them together with multiple images or different information sources, you're going to have a different interpretation very likely. So hopefully you will enjoy this chapter and the unit, and we'll have some problem sets again. And the lab, of course, make sure you participate in the discussion, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Take care.
Make sure you look at all the pictures.